Hi everyone, it's Jen. I decided to name my channel Jen's Stitch and Quilt because I do both and I love both. So I will be starting to name that. I also have an Etsy shop where I'm going to be selling some scissor fobs and needle minders and patterns that I don't want anymore, or things that I've made. So keep an eye out for that. I have it set up. I think I only have one thing on it. I haven't done much with it yet. So that's a future plan. I thought I would show you today some of the stuff that I did for Stitch Mania, and then I went shopping yesterday and I bought some stuff and I thought I'd show you some of that. It's a new project, which I was just complaining about how I have too many starts. Yeah, I bought 2 new projects. And then I found a couple more mistakes in my planning for Stitch Mania, so I'll talk to you about those and what I'm going to do, and then I have a question for you. So let's start. First of all, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about myself because I've been watching other floss tubers and noticed that they do call out people, and so I have to learn about what I'm doing. But I thought I'd tell you about me. I'm 62. I'm married. I've been married. It'll be 40 years in November. I have a daughter who is 25, and on her own. I live in Massachusetts. We've been here about 20 years. We've lived in Massachusetts for 40. We moved up here just before we got married. I do market research and currently looking for a job. I've been doing some contracting. I've been stitching, as I said, for over 50 years. I think I started when I was 10. My grandmother did needlepoint, and I loved the bargello that she was doing, and so she showed me how to do it and gave me some yarn and canvas, and I got to play around. And then I discovered cross-stitching a little bit later. I honestly don't remember when I started cross-stitching, but it's been a long time. And I have a huge collection because of it, because I've been collecting for all of that time. I have a lot of whips, although I give a lot of them away, but I have kept some, and I thought I'd take you on a tour someday in the near future, and some of the stuff that I have that's hanging in the house. I also quilt. I love doing paper piecing. I do English paper piecing, which is hand quilting, hand sewing and piecing. Traditional piecing. I love it all. I have 2 great sewing machines and a little one that I use to travel with because it only weighs 11 pounds. But whenever I go, I always either have cross stitch with me, needlepoint, because I do that as well, or some kind of hand stitching that I can do, like the English paper piecing. So I do that a lot in the car. Fortunately, I don't get car sick, so I can do that. I can read. So those are most of my hobbies. I do some beading. I love chainmail. And I'm going to be using some of that to make the scissor fobs. I got a button machine, which is I'm having a blast with. So I'm going to be making some needle minders that I'm going to sell on my site. Pretty cheap, because they're just buttons. But I have some enamel ones, and I've been making some books, little miniature books. They're like, I think 1 to 12 scale, and making those into needle minders too. So that's been fun. So as you can tell, I'm pretty crafty. I do a lot of stuff. I used to do scrapbooking and stuff. I have a ton of scrapbooking stuff and dies and all that, and I think I'm going to get rid of a lot of it, so keep an eye on eBay, or even my site. I don't know, I haven't decided where I'm going to sell it yet, but I figure I'll probably get better traffic on eBay, since it has nothing to do with stitching or quilting. I thought I would talk first about the projects that I worked on this week for Stitch Mania. I had one major goof, which I will show you. Means I'm going to have to rip something out, unfortunately. But the first thing I did was the unicorn on the moon. Oops, put it up a little higher so you can see it. I'm doing this on a 28 count even weave. and everything's in plastic bags, so I apologize for all the noise. So this is what I've gotten done. I actually got quite a bit done. I was pretty pleased. I really like working on this fabric. I really like even weave better than linen, but there's so many pretty linens out there that I just go with what I like. I can stitch on it all. So the next thing that I started was the Seasonal Streets by Lakeside, and I actually got a little bit more done than this, but I had to frog out the light brown that's in that brown vine there, because I thought it was too light and it got lost on this fabric. And so that was my first goof. I had a light blue fabric that I was going to use, a light blue linen, but it wasn't big enough. I grabbed it from my stash, and I think I even mentioned that I wasn't sure it was big enough, but it's not. So I went with this sort of a dirty linen, because it's in my stash, and I don't have it for anything, and I needed something that was fairly large, and the white really pops on it. So I think it'll still be really pretty and a little bit different from the blue that other people are using. The next project that I started was a fun one, and that is the seahorses that is on this gorgeous fabric. And this is when I got a lot done. I had a lot of time to stitch that day. So if you can see, I got the seaweed done for that side and the top done, and quite a bit on the seahorse. This is what the first one looks like. And as you can see, it's a stitch along. So I have the second one. And then when I was at the store yesterday, I got the third and fourth one. So here's the third one. Or I guess that's the fourth one, actually. And then this is the third one. So it's all seahorses. And I'm really looking forward to working on them because I love seahorses. And I actually ordered a seahorse needle minder from a shop on Etsy. And I'll put the name of the shop down in the notes because I don't remember off the top of my head. But it was recommended by the mother and daughter team, Stephanie and Pam. I think it's Just Keep Stitching. I love their channel, and I've been catching up and watching it a lot. So that's the first couple things from my my hunt yesterday. And then my second to last is the Sunrise, which has all the bright colors. I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to start it because I wouldn't have the right colors to start it, but I needed the yellow and the orange to work on that sun on the upper left, and I had those. And so I got quite a bit done on that as well. It's really going to be pretty. I just love these colors. And I put in an order. My local needlepoint store didn't have the colors I needed in the quantity that I needed, so I went on to 1-2-3 Stitch, and I'm about to pull the trigger to order those. And then the last one is my Major Goof. This is the pattern. It's the Paisley Owl, and I'm a little unhappy with the cover because it really doesn't show exactly what I'm working on. It's computerized. I would love to see a version of it stitched so I really know what I'm doing. Anyway, I was very surprised to find out that the fabric that I was using, it's got to be 40 count. It's tiny. And I thought that was a little surprising, but I went with it. I had to go from 2 threads down to 1, and I got my first little paisley part almost done, a little flower. But I was kind of surprised, and then I went to open up the Dragons of Sumatra, which is the project that I'm going to be starting today, and I looked at the fabric, and it's little, and I realized, uh-oh, they're both sort of on gray, and sure enough, this is what I was supposed to be doing the Paisley Owl on, and this one is what I'm supposed to be doing the Dragons of Sumatra on. So that means I got to rip out this little thing. Fortunately, I didn't get a whole lot done, so it won't take that long to rip out. So I'm glad that I'm using this smaller count on the Dragons of Sumatra. But that comes to my haul, because once I rip this out, I have a choice of 2 different threads. I chose the Midnight, which is blue, by the way, not gray. I do know the difference between blue and gray. Very pretty dark, and it looks really nice against the fabric, which is sort of grays and light blues, maybe a little purple thrown in. I think it's pretty stunning on it. I really like it, but when I was at the store, she had just gotten in some Gloriana silk that's sort of teals and greens, and I fell in love. And so that's my second choice. So if you want to send your comments, you have probably until about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight when I will make my decision. And when I do my next video next week, wrapping up Stitch Mania, I will show you what I decided on. So, in case you haven't seen the Dragons of Sumatra, this is what it looks like. It's going to be a long-term project, I think, but I love dragons. So, I'm pretty happy with what I got done so far. I actually had thread for everything, so I could start everything. I just had that major error, which is easily fixed. Just breaks my heart a little, because the colors are so pretty. Whoops. Sorry, it's my friend Will calling. So, let me just show you really quick what I got on my major haul. So, I said I wasn't going to start a new project, but the same designers that are doing the Seahorse have another little trilogy coming out. It's called Fireside Originals. They're working with Hot House Petunia and EJB Designs. And I saw this called The Sea. And I just fell in love with it. I love sea turtles and turtles in general. I hope you can see it. It's really pretty. And so I couldn't, my store didn't have that particular fabric, which is pretty and does look like sea, but it's a little bright for me. But I found this, and I think it's going to be gorgeous on that. And this is from Weeks. It's called Sky. It's a fat quarter. And I bought a bunch of threads for this, as well as for my Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. And so I have all of these threads, both from Weeks and from Simply Shaker. So I have a lot of different threads, and I have just about everything I need for both projects. So that's going to be fun. So I can't start that, though, until I'm finished with some of the projects that I have going. So that's just going to have to go in my stash for a little while. I also ordered online these Hearts of America from the Victoria Sampler. I love their stuff, and so I found Massachusetts, which is where I live, Kentucky, so I hope that Emily doesn't watch this, because this is where her boyfriend's from, Connecticut, which is where I grew up, and Delaware, which is where my husband's family is from. So I think they're very cute. They look like they'll make cute ornaments for Christmas. And then I've been looking around at Instagram, because people have been talking about their sites there, and I don't have anything there yet, though I've been posting on Stitch Mania. And so I thought that, oh, here's another. I also found this on eBay. I love daffodils. My mother loved daffodils, and I found this Victoria sampler called Daffodils. Or Daffodil Sampler. Is really pretty. It says, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high, or vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And I always loved that poem. And it's lots of yellow, which will be beautiful in either my sewing room or my office. And then I found this on eBay too, since it's my 40th anniversary coming up. I thought I would do the heirloom anniversary sampler for us. So there's got the 20, and then on the back there's the 50, so I'm going to have to make up 40. But I also found the thread pack as well, so I just have to pick out fabric, and I hopefully can use one from my stash. And then back to Instagram, I found the Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler for January 2018 and fell in love because it's medieval themes, and I love medieval music, medieval everything. I play the recorder, although I haven't played in years, and love the Renaissance and medieval times and costumes and all that. I didn't print out the original, I just realized, but there are several people doing it, or there's a lot of people doing it, and the color combinations that everybody's doing are so much fun. So I definitely decided that I'm going to be doing it in multiple colors. There are a couple examples that I fell in love with, and I thought I had printed, yeah, so I actually had to buy the fabric because I didn't have anything long enough. So I got this raw linen, 36 count, so that's what I'm going to be doing it on. And there were two designs in particular, and I should have gotten the names of the people. This is one of them, and I love her colors. They're very clear, and I love what she did with the hearts and the heart of Richard II. So that's one of my inspirations. And then I thought this one was very pretty with the blues and greens and yellows. That's DMM. So for both of you stitchers, thank you very much, and I will hunt you down and put down the credits on the bottom of this so that people can see who you are. I love what you've both done, and I'm taking them both to heart. So I think that's all I have for today. I'm having a lot of fun starting all these projects. It is daunting, as I said last week. I also have a huge stash of floss that I have to wind. I spent yesterday at the World in Stitches, which is my local needlepoint store, in Littleton, Massachusetts. She has the second Saturday and the last Saturday every month, where you just go starting at 10 and you stitch, and she brings in lunch. And then we go out to dinner and come back and stitch until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So it's a full day of stitching and bitching. We break out the wine somewhere between 4 and 5, if we remember. We didn't remember yesterday, but just gab and get to know people and see what people are working on and learn about what they've been watching on Floss Tube or looking at on magazines, and it's just fun. Of course, it's dangerous too, because that's where I spend all my money. But I'm having a blast. Happy stitching, everybody. Have a great week, and I do promise that I'm going to be doing the Excel. I gotten a comment back from everybody, or from someone talking about that thought they would like that. So sounds good, and I've been planning it out, and I will do it soon. So have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.